Welcome to London Property's Global Real Estate Outlook with Farnaz Fazaipour, in association with Lee Summers, founder of the Summers Global Team. Explore the latest trends in major markets worldwide with a network of 18 global agents and 47 satellite agents.
Hello and welcome to London Property, the home of Superprime. Today we're delighted to start our global review of important markets together with our partner in New York, Lee Summers. Welcome back to the show, Lee.
Thank you.
Lee and I are going to spend this time discussing different events in different jurisdictions to help our community understand what's going on in areas that might affect them, and also be aware that you can go to the same team to help you with your requirements in many different countries, talking to trusted professionals who have got your best interest at heart. Lee, let's start talking about our own markets. So I'm going to head over to New York now and hand it to you to tell us a little bit about what's happening in the New York market right now.
New York's a destination market, especially when in times of strife, and of course we know what's going on in the world, money and investment seems to head towards the States. The dollar is fairly strong. And what's happened is at this point, according to the Federal Reserve, New York, or the United States, has the highest economy in the world now. Our inflation is in check. And what that means is that people feel comfortable in investing. And there's a lot of investment going on we always had a market, if I may just go a little bit aside, we always had a market for children going to school and parents buying homes there and being able to visit the children, and then people having pied-à-terres and people going to the destinations like Aspen and Los Angeles. That we've always had, but New York has become a destination also for investment because it's a rental city. So if you buy, everything rents, and everything rents at very, very high prices. So we handle a lot of buyers who buy, and then we rent the apartments out. Somebody asked us, they said, oh, well, are you making large profit? No. I have to say that you're not going to make large profit. You make the profit on the back end when you sell the property, but you make the expenses for the property. You make a slight increase yearly in the property, but basically the money is safe. You never, and this is important, lose money. You never lose money. Never hear of anybody losing money in the New York market. And the New York market, everybody goes, well, is it expensive? You know, that's relative, of course. All real estate is expensive in its own way, but you could pick up for $1 million. You can pick up for $10 million. Everybody always reads about the $30 million sales, the $25 million sales, and we all know about those. But we have a constant flow because there's so many apartments that it's all prices. Plus the fact that you can stay incognito. You can buy where when you buy, your money is sent to the lawyer. And in America, and this is very important, the lawyer is untouchable. So when funds go to a lawyer, the government is never allowed to see those funds. It's private. Therefore, the lawyer's escrow account is a very safe place. So nobody ever needs to know the name of the people who are buying. Now, I digress on one thing. If it's over $25 million, yes, a name has to be divulged, but not under 25 million. So your money is very private and very safe. And it's very easy to buy here. From soup to nuts, it's just easy to buy. So that's the New York market.
Some of the things you were saying there felt like I was talking about London. But the thing is that currently what is going on the ground? Are you finding that your market is busy, it's dead, there's a certain nationality of buyers that are focused on New York? Is there anything specific to right now that's happening in the market?
What specifically is we were really, really having a fabulous time with the Asian market. I mean, Hong Kong and all the Asian countries surrounding that, China. We those people would buy so much in the New York market. That is not as good anymore. You just don't have that. The Chinese, there's none. The Hong Kong, they fled. We have Singaporeans, and we at the Summers Global team are working on the New Delhi market, where I'm in conferences with New Delhi and having the Indian people are very interested in New York, Los Angeles, and London. So we are moving in that direction. We are busy. We're always busy because you know what it is? People get transferred to New York. New York's a business city. People have to move here. We are also the hub for all the schools in New England. So let's say you have a child going to university and all the New England schools, parents sometimes pick a place to buy an apartment in New York City as a hub and a base. So we just are always busy. We were even busy during the pandemic, which is hard to believe because we couldn't even get into the apartments, but we were doing it by picture. So hopefully that answers your question, on the New York.
I was just wondering that, right now, what's actually happening in the market, because, here in the UK, in London specifically, we're dealing with a lot of bad sentiment about the UK and a lot of taxation on the wealthy. So the talk in the news and the talk amongst the expat community, the non-doms and everything is, London's over, we're all leaving, except that us on the ground are seeing slightly different story because it's actually getting quite busy and, at the right prices, transactions are happening. So I know that London and New York play a very kind of similar role in the global community. And I remember when I was younger, we used to call the relationship between the two nylon, because if you were a New Yorker, the chances were that you had some roots in London and vice versa. So there was always this like very easy transition between people moving between the two cities. But so you're seeing that with your work with other satellite agents that you have in your network, there is interest coming from India at this current moment for New York, which we're actually also seeing in London. There's a lot of Indian wealth and Chinese.
Well, India has always been London has always been a major focus for India. And in my talks we have taken on a new person in India, and she is fantastic, and she's head of JLL there. And she is saying there's a huge amount of interest there always has been, but now on simple apartments, 1 million, 2 million, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million pounds for the Indian market for London. New York makes them New York makes them a little nervous because it's New York, but London, they seem to understand because of the history between the two countries, and
Yeah.
so it's they sort of understand each other. But there is a big interest in the Indian market in Los Angeles, which is kind of interesting. On that, because before it used to be a little bit more in San Francisco, but now it is Los Angeles, and sort of like moving over onto the LA market. LA market is becoming a buyer's market, which is very interesting. It's a little bit volatile at the moment. I would have to say, injecting in there, we're a little volatile at the moment because we've got an election, as you know, going on, and with two different ways of politics, just as you've just had, in the UK, with two different sides of the coin, liberal and not so liberal and conservative. We're having that same thing. And that is going to structure probably rates and things like that for the future, whether it's Trump or whether it's Harris, on where that goes a little bit. But I think only at the beginning. After that, everybody goes, the line is, okay, after the election. Let's all wait for after the election and we'll see, what happens. I know in London, have you seen any changes because of the Starmer government, with changing of the laws
Well,
for.
in London, we've had a very turbulent 10 years with regards to changes and waiting for this and waiting for that, and then the Brexit and then the taxes, that I think people have gotten bored of waiting. In fact, I wanted to interview somebody about the country market, because the country market in the UK is becoming quite important. And London seems to be becoming more transient in comparison. And I said to him, "So when should we speak?" And he said, "Well, I'm not going to wait for the budget at the end of October, because we all know what they're proposing to do. So let's just get on with our lives." So, we've become, for you, it's a bit more focused, but for us, it's been so turbulent with so many prime ministers that I think everyone's just gotten bored of waiting for politics, and it's just like
Right.
deciding to do what they need to do. Now, you and I speak quite often, and, it's great what you've set up here with your agents in, what is it now, 16 different locations?
We have, well, what Summers Global Team is, as I was head of, the Sotheby's International, for all those years, I had contacts all over the world, good friends, contacts, people I work with. So I just incorporated it, and we have 16 markets here that we deal with directly, and another 47 satellites. And the satellites are smaller markets, let's say like the Loire, the areas in Italy and Greece and whatever, that are small markets that are not hubs, like let's say a Rome would be. Therefore, when anybody needs any sort of property anywhere, we can actually go into our satellites and get them these very good vetted brokers. The team that we have in place, which is, the major markets and still growing, we can handle, it's just very busy. And of course, our vineyard market, that is so busy. And the reason why the vineyard market is so busy, just to give you a fast synopsis on that, is investment money. That's where investment money is going. Portugal, Spain, Italy, of course, which is, still always number one. A little bit of France, although the French market is down. That's where the Asian money is going. So we are actually handling a lot of, and Napa, of course, handling a lot of, for example, so it doesn't sound like I'm meandering too much, Taiwanese money. There's a lot of Taiwanese people investing outside, and they're investing in vineyards. And we are we now have about 15 vineyards on the market, which.
So that's interesting. So the vineyards are mostly Asians that are interested in buying them. And you say they're buying them for investment reasons. They're not buying them as a lifestyle choice to now go live somewhere beautiful, make some wine, and, kind of
you get a few
wind
retirees.
down.
You get a few retirees. We just did something in Greece for that, an ex airplane, an ex, air captain wanting to retire, but you don't see that as much as people investing. And I'm dealing with a lot of Asian heads of capital funds who have these, let's say I'll just use an example, 6 Taiwanese investors forming together to buy one vineyard. Then they get the managers to, take care and help. And then they just have the money out, get the money out of Taiwan, get it out of Hong Kong. Singapore, people are not getting money out of Singapore. They're putting money into Singapore. Singapore is, we have an office there. Singapore is a strong market for us. But what can I say? The market for vineyards is actually very strong and all prices could be anywhere from 2 million, 3 million euros, all the way up to 20 million euros. So,
do you think any of these purchases are kind of golden visa related or residency related, or they're purely investment? They are.
Absolutely. That actually is 50% of the plan. I think, especially for Taiwan, I think that Portugal was always known for the golden visa, and they shut that door. You could still get one if you do a commercial product, let's say in Porto or down south in the Algarve. Spain is still giving them. Spain's still doing the golden visas.
They are.
Yeah,
They're shutting that door.
but they're
shutting that door.
Yeah, that door is still open. So yes, that's what people do want. Everybody always asks about it. So we just had an inquiry about it, 2 days ago. We have a head of that vineyard division, so she actually has all the information, on that.
All the different countries where you've got the vineyards, then you can provide that support service for the reasons why people are coming. Then you can connect them with the right professionals to actually help them with the transaction.
Exactly.
So interesting you should say Taiwan, because in the past 10 days, I've actually come across 2 South Koreans separately looking to invest in the UK. One was looking for a prime building in the Knightsbridge, Belgravia area. And the other one, completely randomly, came up in conversation when I was speaking to one of our members on London Property who's deeply involved in commercial real estate. And I always find that just as we get depressed about the market quietening down, you suddenly hear about wealth coming from somewhere you weren't expecting. So you're seeing Taiwan, we're seeing South Korea.
Yeah.
We're also seeing a lot of Americans here. And I was walking my dog last night, and in the space of 15 minutes, some Americans came out of a taxi. Some of them went past me on the pavement, and another lot were coming out of a building. And I'm thinking, are they all here on holiday? Or is this actually, according to the press, a lot of Americans are relocating to the UK for both political and crime reasons?
Well, I have to say that I must give an answer on that. Yes, I think the UK is our number one place where people actually go to live, Americans. I think UK and the United States are just in synergy with each other. I mean, it's just incredible. Americans love the UK. I think I get more questions about it than any other place. But I have to make it clear about one thing. We are a very big country, and we have a lot, our population is huge. When you read crime is a story. So when we have a killer and when these terrible events happening, it makes splashes everywhere. But our crime is so limited. New York City has so little crime in relation to the population that it's incredible. But who wants to read about, Mary went to work, Mary came home from work, Mary made dinner? That's not a story. A story is, Mary unfortunately got killed on the way with New York City crime. You're not going to see, that's what you're going to see. I have to say, Farnaz, that crime is not a major thing. The newspapers make it a major thing because it is a story and people want to read about it. We just had a terrible thing of a shooting in a high school in a little town where we don't even know the name of, somewhere in the South. I mean, as I said, we're a big country with a large population. No, it's not the crime. We have been named the number one food destination. We beat out France, New York City, which is kind of amazing that New York City has become the number one food mecca. And what else is edging up there is London, beating out France, which is, of course, now I'm going to be beat up by all my French friends, because of saying this, but this is what's happening. So, what's happened is the world is so small. The world is so small. And the thing that we run into is you meet people and they go, oh, I always wanted a house here. I always wanted an apartment here. And they don't know how to do it. They don't know the rules. They don't know the laws. They don't know who to call. They don't know how to get a broker.
So hopefully we'll take that problem away for people, because between us we'll be able to help them wherever they want to go. So before we go on to discussing how this whole Summers Global team came about and the beauty of having trusted people to refer to, Is there any other place that you can report from that something interesting is going on from your satellites and from your brokers in all these different jurisdictions? So we know that the Indian market is getting ripe for coming out and investing abroad. We've talked about vineyards. Anything else from any of the locations?
Well, there is one place I would like to mention that it's been actually kind of very interesting, the growth, Madrid. You know, before hotels are built, the companies, like Amen and Four Seasons, they do market research update before they make an investment. Madrid has more new major hotels opening than any place in all of Europe. Madrid. And the fact that an Amen and a Soho House and major hotels, Edition, the Four Seasons, Peninsula, they are all opening or have opened in Madrid. And why is that? Madrid is being known, it's out there as not only have a free-flowing society, it's clean. It's the way of life is good. Madrid economy has grown by double digit, 11%, almost 11% per annum has grown in people wanting to buy there. It started to be fueled by Latin America, of course, but Latin America always, like Madrid. But then all of a sudden they have a wave of Americans, and there have been dramatic increases in the prices in Madrid. It's still a good deal, but basically, and of course the visa, you can spend 500,000 or more, and you get the visa. You also can get the right of return there. So what I mean by that, the right of return, which was originally an Israeli term, which means that if you can show your grandparents or your great-grandparents or somebody came from Spain, you can actually apply for citizenship. And I happen to have a friend who just got citizenship there because of that. So we are dealing with a market and that's very exciting. A lot of people say Barcelona. Barcelona still has its political problems. It's really Madrid that is fueling a good market. So I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and I want to add to that because, as you know, we've got some property in Seville, and we've seen a huge transformation in values and demand for. We've got some Airbnbs that we let out to tourists, and I think Spain's just going through a golden era. Apart from winning the football and the tennis,
Yeah.
at Wimbledon, I think that it is going through a golden era, and it's got a lot to offer. So it's interesting that you're seeing that from a real estate perspective. What kind of people are investing? Is you said Americans? Is that what your local agent is reporting?
All over. We have two major people in, Eduardo Muriano and Charlotte Dudley. Now, Charlotte's handling the estates and vineyards and whatever, and I'm not going to name a name, but a major force in the world, a major entrepreneur, just bought olive groves in the south of Spain. And then Madrid, a lot of quite famous names are buying there. Eduardo, satellite, SGT member there. He was at Compass in New York with me, and he then opened up two offices he's Spanish, in Madrid. So he holds an American and Spanish licenses to work in international real estate. He's has an office on Salamanca. And he was saying that it's like coming into his office, it's like the United Nations of languages of people coming in asking about properties. And I find that extraordinarily interesting on what's happened there. And we can actually help them. As I said, we're strong in Madrid, so we can actually help people there, in a good way.
Well, listen, I'm really looking forward to bringing this message to our listeners that they can tune in to our conversations, which we were planning to have on a regular basis to see just a snapshot of what's going on around the world in prime real estate. A lot of these people who invest in all these different places are connected and part of the same group of people. So, dealing with somebody in London and then seamlessly being passed on to someone in the next place you're going to, whether it's South Africa, Europe, America, it's refreshing to know that you're going to be dealing with like-minded people. So you had the foresight to realize this. And just before we thank you and say goodbye, can you just talk to us a little bit about what made you want to set up this network of connected agents and how the old school agency played a role in what you're doing now with Lee's global network?
Well, this is my background. For 25 years, I was on flying all over the world with Sotheby's doing, all these things, contacts. This is what I did. I handled international money for years, made huge contacts. And when I went to Compass to start an international division, which they weren't ready to start yet because we started an IPO, they started their IPO instead, and it will eventually happen. They said, create your international from what you did and what you know. And I did do that. And so what can I say? I know all the countries. I have people that I have worked with for 20, 25 years. So for me, a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm international, I do this. International has taken a lot of work. You have to really know the laws of each country. You have to know good people in each country. It's a whole different thing. And for me, I was lucky to be able to evolve and, of course, have a very good time going to all these countries and getting to know the people. So what can I say, Farnaz? That is, even how I met you, was through international connections and, our original meeting and everything. So
Yeah.
If there was an area where I'm not familiar with, I actually have the wherewithal to, let's say, contact people. Let's say I'll give you an example. I don't have an office in Japan. Japan has become very popular, but I do have my contact there that I worked for 3 years. So let's say somebody said, I'm being transferred to Tokyo. I want to rent something there. I can just give them to my contact and let it go from there. So you see, it's just years and years of paying your dues for us.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. The thing is that real estate, wherever it is, it's got the same principles. Yes, you have to tweak it a little bit for the jurisdiction, but the STA in Spain, the HMRC in the UK, and so on, and it's different, the same principles, different languages, and I think what's important for the listeners to understand is, you come to us and we can hold your hand and we can make sure that you're getting to the right specialists for the right reasons. So it was a real pleasure to do this first pilot with you about what's going on globally around the world. And we're looking forward to doing this on a regular basis with you. And I just wanted to thank you for your time and look forward to hearing what's going on in all the different jurisdictions in the world in our next conversation.
Very good. It was very nice talking to you, Farnaz, and hope to speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in to our Global Real Estate Outlook. For personalized advice, contact us to connect with the right expert for your property needs. Stay informed and make smart property decisions with londonproperty.co.uk and the Summers Global team.